Are you about to watch this video and you're not liked and subscribed to it? Like the video, please. Just go down. It's right there. It's right there.
I did. I hit it. Have you hit it?
Welcome back to Starting Nine.
Let's go.
Episode 251. It is the Boomer Wells podcast.
Give it a lefty.
David Wells from the clouds making his Starting Nine debut. A guy that it has to be. It's the first guy that we've had on the podcast that threw a perfect game ever.
Yeah. Well, technically,
it's the
no,
first
but
guy ever that we've had on that's thrown a perfect game.
To be interviewed, yes, you are correct.
Ever.
That is first. That's the first. It's a first for me.
What do you mean?
To interview a fellow perfect gamer, if you will. I don't really want to talk about that, it is a first for me. You brought it up, so I'll acknowledge it.
Yeah, one thing that I've actually never brought up, that because it's just the kind of guy that I am, the no-hitter on 6-5-0-4 should have been a perfect game. It was actually a throwing error by the third baseman. So
here we go. The game that was never documented. The game that there's no physical documentation.
I mean,
of.
people were there. There's plenty of people that would come on this podcast and be like, "Yeah, I played in that game. Yeah, I was at that game." But yeah, it
just wasn't important enough for anybody to roll film on, snap one photo of.
And this is 2004.
Write an article about. What are you talking about? It's
2004. People don't have fucking camera phones and shit like that. That's not a thing yet.
What? They don't have cameras though. Like people,
who the fuck's rolling up with their
taking
fucking
pictures
boombox VHS camera in 2004? That's not like no one. If it happened in 2013,
what? Do you understand that the closer you get
the
closer that you get to the DVD era, which I believe was when did we start pumping out DVDs? Probably around 2004.
Probably a little bit before that.
Okay, so then the idea that you could record anything and immediately transfer it to a compact
disc. Who just has
disc?
a handheld camera with them? Like that's what you would need in 2004 still.
Right, but you're acting like that was just completely.
Dad's making home movies.
Yeah,
like you need that kind of camera.
Yes, that's exactly what happened until the day that they were like, "Hey, check out this iPhone. You can take pictures on your phone."
Yeah.
And that dude, when he stood next to the dad at the field with the giant camera, like that would be a photograph to have and cherish forever, because it's like you got one guy doing this, and then the next guy to him is doing this.
Yeah.
And to look at that picture and be like, what the fuck is going on? Those two people are doing the same exact thing. One's recording it and one's recording it. There's just a couple of devices. The guy that's recording it with the fucking handheld, he's got to go home and transfer it to the CD. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. But
Seems
that
like
was
a big hassle.
It sure was, but it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, Jared.
No, of course it.
So if you're out there, if anybody is out there that has any sort of footage, like I feel like even
there's
a pitch,
anything
from that day,
so
it
let me
would
ask
be
you
like
this,
Bigfoot
Dallas.
footage. If you've got a camera,
if you throw a no-hitter in a Babe Ruth League All-Star game, who do you think would have that footage? Right? Who would have that?
Anybody there that had parents at the
game?
game.
Who's filming the start though? Who would be filming 16-year-old Babe Ruth All-Star game?
So let me answer that question for you. Mm-hmm. I just went to my nephew's, who is 15, to his summer ball game. Okay, there were no less than 9 cameras set up behind home plate. That was set up behind home plate. Other parents littered throughout the stands. Cameras, and I'm not talking just phones, I'm talking handheld cameras as well as their telephones. So, I mean, at a fucking summer ball game, there was a minimum of 15 recording options.
It's a lot.
That's a ton.
It's a lot.
That's a ton. So if you're asking me to give you the name of somebody that you can scapegoat here for not having it recorded, I'm not going to do that to Ellen. That's not what I'm going to do.
She wasn't there. Neither was my dad because I wasn't supposed to start that day.
See, I'm not scapegoating your parents. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
I wasn't supposed to start that day. And kid was sick, or it was either he was sick or he like just pitched for like a different travel team. So he was unavailable to pitch that game. And they were like, do you want to start? And I was like, yeah, sure.
I mean, the story gets better. This is why it's This is why it's best that it's not written. Is because it keeps getting better and better. If I had to read this story, it would have been over, and I wouldn't keep getting these mystery chapters popping up. So I appreciate this. I feel like it's a Goosebumps book.
Yeah. What a day! What a day it was.
Come on, Dave. Cheer up.
I'm not. What do you mean? I'm not. I don't
picture.
care that you don't believe it happened. I mean, there's plenty of people in Saugus that would vouch for me.
There's plenty of Jared's friends that would absolutely co-sign to what he's telling me.
Why would they lie about that? That's weird. Why would I? What you think? Do you think I would go to the extent of having a baseball that's labeled with the date and the number of strikeouts in a baseball case that I keep in my apartment even now? You think I would go that length to protect a gimmick?
Jared, you played Legion baseball while you were able to legally drink alcohol. So, yes, I believe
that those two things have no connection.
Yes, they do. Yes,
there's no connection there.
Yes, there's a strong connection there. Personality-wise, there is a strong connection. I don't want to break you down psychologically on air right now, but there is a strong connection there.
No, there isn't.
There is.
Because even when I was 20 playing in a 16 to 18 league, those kids were still bigger than me. So it's not even like I had an unfair competitive advantage. That was back when I was like 120 pounds.
There's nothing about it being unfair.
I just wanted to keep playing baseball with my friends.
If
I played now, that's different.
Wanting
if I'm just
to
like
keep
sauced up
thing
playing against
going.
16-year-olds, that's different. But if I'm like, all right, I mean, I'm basically the same size, if not smaller than these kids, so I can.
See, you want to tie it to physical desire and success. I'm merely drawing connections between the interest mentally in keeping a thing going. Sure. That's where there's a correlation. Like I said, I don't want to break you down right now.
Yeah. I mean, but make no mistake about it. I was of legal age when on 6504.
Hey, no, we're not. I'm not telling you that you were cheating the game then.
I was never cheating the game. I did not throw a single pitch illegally in that game.
Yeah, in this alleged no-hitter.
It's not alleged.
It was in this alleged sanctioned baseball game. You were of legal age, even though there's no documentation of this baseball game ever being played, and it's merely word of mouth. I do not believe that you were of illegal age during this fictional game.
I mean, it's not fictional.
Well, sure, but I mean, there's nothing written down. There's no like physical, so it's like kind of made up. You know what I mean?
No, it's not made up. It happened.
Well, that's like if you get put to bed with stories that there's no book about, and it's just kind of word of mouth.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, tell me a story. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about 6504.
6504, baby. 13 punchies. Tony C. Field and Revere.
Jared.
Should have been a perfect game.
Speaking
of perfect games, what?
You pray to the baseball gods.
Sometimes, yeah.
They answered your prayers. They answered our prayers.
They answered everyone's prayers.
I'm not going to take the time to parade around and tell Major League Baseball and their fans that I told you so, because there's not a lot of people who didn't think this was possible. Whether or not they thought it was going to happen this year in the fashion that it's happened, that could be a different conversation. But I told everybody at the very beginning of this season, you know who the most valuable player is going to be? Not only on his own fucking team, but in the game of baseball. You want to know who that's going to be? Let me tell you. That's going to be a man by the name of
Wander
Shohei
Franco.
Ohtani.
Yep.
And that man gave his blessing to Major League Baseball. Yep, I will be there in Denver in the home run derby. It's showtime in Colorado, folks. Shohei Ohtani, derby. Like I said on Morningwood, this dude now is going to be given the license to swing as hard as he fucking can and trying to launch baseballs basically on the moon. Like if there's a stadium you could put on the moon to get these kind of results, it would be Colorado. You go to Colorado. That's where this is all going down.
Yeah.
It is going to be magical. Magical. How about the fucking tear this guy has been on?
Yeah, I mean, he's did he tie? He's tied for the Major League lead right now, right? That's 23.
23rd homer yesterday. That, as I said again on Morning
That's
Wood,
ridiculous.
23 home runs, 70 total. He's got 70 jacks total. 100 punch-outs under his belt as a starting pitcher as well. 4 people in the history of baseball have ever done that. 4.
I'm gonna need Acuna to step it the fuck up, though. He's ruining up the aesthetic. It's like you've got Vladdy Jr. and Shohei Ohtani tied with 23. Then you got Fernando Tatis Jr. with 22. Then you got Matt Olson with 20, and then Ronald Acuna Jr. with 19. He homered yesterday. What was that, a 1-0 win in the second game of a 2-game 7-inning doubleheader against
For
the
number
Cardinals?
19.
Fucking car. Did you see that stat that I tweeted last night about the Diamondbacks?
About what? What,
During-
23 straight?
No. During their 0-17 stretch, and if you're watching on YouTube, you see that I'm trying to throw all the fucking good juju and support I can behind the D-backs right now. I've got every single logo in franchise history on my backboard right now. During their 0-17 stretch, the D-backs have still outscored the Pirates, the Nationals, the Rangers, and the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are actually, I believe, last in runs scored over that span.
Oh,
So,
that's unfortunate.
yeah, like it's kind of
that's,
not
you know,
even close.
Well, look. There's no doubt there's been bad luck. There's no doubt there's been bad luck. You're winning by fucking 7 in the 8th inning against the Giants, and Yaz comes up and pumps one into the Pacific.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? I mean, they scored 8 runs against the Dodgers and lost.
Like that kind of stuff. Those, I mean, and that's what makes these losses do. And I'm telling you right now, I'm fortunate enough to never had been through a skid like that. You know, been through terrible seasons, but collectively across the game, straight up, guys are like, "Yo, man, I fucking feel terrible. I feel terrible for these guys because it doesn't feel like there's an end in sight." Think about all these losses you've accumulated that are just mounting and stacking up over there in the corner, right? And what comes with those are numbers that aren't attractive either. So you're looking up at the giant jumbotron, and those numbers that are neon lights, they're telling you just how bad you are, how bad you've been. Those don't get any better. So maybe you scratch out that one W, you get rid of that streak, that taste. The numbers still are what they are. And it's almost like you're brought back to reality, even in a moment where you're trying to put all this shit behind you. These losses fucking hurt, man. They hurt. Because you want to be able to learn from these things. But it feels like all you're trying to do right now is just win for the sake of winning. Who cares about this process? Blah, blah, blah. Because it doesn't feel like the D-backs were resigned to being this bad.
They're incredibly bad. The other stat that I tweeted that I shared on Morning Wood was that shout out to Kyle Schwarber. What a fucking weekend he had. He had the 2 homers on Saturday, the 3 homers on Sunday, and even came out of the game. He could have hit more. You had Cedric Mullins had back-to-back games with 2 homers. Adam Duvall went off, and then Shohei Ohtani went off. So those 4 guys, Duvall, Ohtani, Mullins, Schwarber, in one weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, hit more home runs than the D-backs have as a team since May 23rd. It is June 21st. And
That's
those
painful.
4 guys in one weekend out-homered the entire team over the last month, basically.
Yeah, that's painful. That is painful. There's just no other way to look at it right now, man.
It's bad.
And what's unfortunate is like this is and I hate to say this.
Don't say it then.
Because there's a lot of it is what it is. There's a lot of good players there, but it feels like this is who you are. This is what this club is, more so than like, is this it? Come on, how many fucking ball games in a row?
17.
And 23 on the road, 24 on the road, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it's bad.
Like, that's 2.5 straight weeks of losing.
Yeah. I mean,
nothing.
It's
not like nothing. The 7-run lead against San Francisco, like that game, like that's one of the games where you're saying like, we just cannot find a way to lose this ball game. That can't happen.
Yeah.
And it's tough because it does at times feel like you're showing up to the park and you're finding ways to lose the game more than you're finding ways to win the game. And again, it hurts because it's not on purpose. You're just not executing shit in the most pivotal of moments.
I mean, it's like you said, there is a luck involved. Like it's almost impossible to lose 17 straight games when you field a team of big leaguers who are out there actually trying to win because they all want to stay in the big leagues. They all want to keep their jobs. They all want to be an attractive piece so that if they, but the trade deadline's in a few weeks, get me the fuck out of here. If I get hot, maybe you can flip me to a team that can act like I'm playing for the chance to win a World Series this year still. I want to be an attractive piece for a contender. Get me the fuck out of here. So you're still playing against a team that's trying to win baseball games. You're still trying to get hitters out that are talented enough to play at the highest level in the world. So to lose 17 straight is pretty unfathomable.
That's what's crazy about it is at this level, all it takes is somebody to show up to the ballpark and have a good day. And however good that other team is going, if that guy that's having a good day is on the mound, he could bring everything that team is doing that's hot offensively. He could bring them to a screeching halt.
Uh-huh.
Screeching halt. Jared, I've heard rumors about about an amateur game back in 2004. Kid was supposed to start a ball game, Legion All-Star game. Sick, had thrown the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So they turned to some fucking bum. Like, hey, I guess you're here. Your fucking mom and dad ain't here because let's be real, we understand the embarrassment that they would have to sit through, and that's just not fucking fair.
Right.
So do you want to pitch again? And that guy goes out and has a fucking day, right? That's how difficult. That's how difficult
how many
it
strikeouts?
is to lose that many games in a row.
How many strikeouts?
13.
13 punchies?
13.
Holy shit. Was the last out a strikeout?
I believe it was.
Yeah, what did he get him on?
Well, I know it was 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the split, got to 1-2.
Yeah.
He might have doubled up. I'm not
Finished him
sure.
off
I think
with the hammer.
could have been that big hammer.
Yeah.
Now I'm remembering. You got to remember, Jared. This story isn't in print. Some question
Right.
its validity. So it's just been passed down. But that's how tough it is to lose 17 ball games in a row, 23, 24, 25. I don't know. I feel like it's safe just rounding up at this point and saying that many on the road. It truly is heartbreaking because you've got a combination of guys who are trying to, like you said, trying to prove their worth, not only at the level, but maybe to get the hell out of town.
Yeah.
And you're also, like, if you're Torey Lovullo, like, my God, the culture that you've been trying to create and cultivate, whatever that, I'm not knocking that at all. That, like, let's make that abundantly clear. I'm not knocking that. Whatever it is, though, has taken a major hit, and there's probably a revamping necessary. And I can appreciate the desire to stay the course and maintain, but when your course has now led you to being a month out of first place, a month before the All-Star game, that's problematic.
It's bad. Looking at the all-time losing streaks here. You got they're at 17, so 18 would tie the 1883 Philadelphia Phillies, the 1920 Oakland A's, the 1948 Minnesota Twins, and the 1959 Minnesota Twins. The Twins sucked for a little bit there. The Kansas City Royals in 2005. This looks to be by far the most recent shit team. The 2005 Kansas City Royals lost 19 straight. The 1975 Tigers lost 19 straight. The 1914 Reds, 1906 Braves lost 19. And then let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 20-game losing streaks. You get the 69 Nats, the 16 A's, a lot of A's. The 43 A's lost 20 straight. Jesus.
Rebuilding here, back in 43. Rebuilding, I remember it.
This seems odd. The 1906 Boston Red Sox.
Why is that odd?
The Red Sox were really good in the early 1900s.
No, what year did they...
What year did they rid themselves of a fucking murderer? 1918, after that. But they won the World Series in 1903. Then they went back-to-back, 15, 16, and then
Nobody
18.
cares. The Diamondbacks play the Brewers next. 3-game set. Can they get one?
No.
Can they get one?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so. No. The Brew Crew's hot. The Brew Crew's hot right now, and I know that doesn't matter because luck plays in. But under no circumstances should my Milwaukee Brewers walk away from this series with nothing less than a sweep.
Wow.
No chance.
Wow.
No chance.
Strong. You know who's on the bump today?
I want the fucking D-backs to come out of this, but not against the Brewers. Like whatever team loses to the Diamondbacks to end this fucking streak, like our guy, fucking Captain Smiley himself, Brett Anderson, is going
on
tonight.
The bump today. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was gonna say, like, if you're the pitcher that has to go through, like, I'm telling you right now, this is not a start that you're just like, whatever. Like if you're Brett, well, here, put it like this: Brett Anderson, fucking 12 years in, whatever he is, into the big leagues right now. It's gonna take some postseason juice probably to really get him excited, especially this fucking guy. But you don't want to be the dude who goes out there and lays the egg against the D-backs. Like there is a collective passing of the baton right now amongst the pitching brethren. Like, yo, don't be that dude. Don't be. It's musical chairs right now, and the entire league is circling one chair, and you just don't want to be without it.
I think if it were to happen to anyone in the series, it's probably going to happen to Brett Anderson just because the baseball gods have a sense of humor and just want him to wear that.
I mean, and I'm gonna let it be known now, if you've listened to this podcast before, if Brett, and I've never done this, and it's just something that you just, you don't do, you wouldn't do, and whatever comeback he would fire off, I would be more than willing to accept and take on the chin and just keep moving. But if he goes out and gets touched up, I'm gonna tweet him, and I'm just gonna be like, yo, really? Really?
I talked to him yesterday.
You that guy? Oh, you that guy? Oh yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I've been talking to him recently too. Actually, the past few days, he's having a good time right now.
Yeah, he's on a good team. He's in a good place in his life and his career.
Yeah.
I think if he's not back in Oakland, I mean, he just he's got a couple different houses. But if he's not back in Oakland having a good time, like the Brew Crew is a good fit for him as well. So this is one of those challenges in life where you happen to find yourself on the mound against a team that's lost their last 17 straight games. Because after this game, I mean, Freddie Peralta and Zach Allen, like that's a good matchup, but the Brewers should not lose that game. And then Brandon Woodruff versus Caleb Smith, like the Brewers shouldn't lose that game. So if anything, it's not like he's going up against a stud in fucking Merrill Kelly tonight.
No, Merrill hasn't necessarily been throwing the piss out of the ball.
No, he hasn't. So but that would be one of those fluky games where it's like, all right, he just comes out and shoves. And Brett's got a little bit of pressure on him. It's like, oh, fuck. I mean, he's throwing the ball pretty good. My bats fell asleep tonight, and
I mean, like an early 2-run homer could, and then like you said, Merrill Kelly comes out and dials up a performance for the ages. Mm-hmm. You don't want to see it if you're Brett Anderson.
You would hate to see it.
Not what you're here for.
No. So don't miss that game tonight.
Yes.
Monday, June 21st, 8:40 p.m. Central Time. Brett Anderson, Merrill Kelly, all the fucking marbles are on the table in this game.
Do we IG live that game at some point in time?
Yeah, I think so. It's that game is going to be, because the Red Sox are off tonight, so that game is going to get big screen treatment tonight.
There you go.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm rooting for Brett Anderson.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. I would never root against my guy. Never root against the Lesty. No. Rooting for chaos?
Yeah, maybe.
Always.
Always. Yeah, so that's something that you definitely want to keep an eye on tonight. The Rays have lost 6 straight games.
Not angry at it.
Unlucky. They've gotten walked off in 4 of their last 5. They've gotten walked off in 4 of their last 5 and lost 6 straight. And the Yankees have gone from 8.5 out to like 4.5 out. I know that they're like having their little victory parade for, we're in 3rd place. We're only 4.5 out. And it's like, well, yeah, you're in a better place than you were. But I wouldn't throw the we're back parade just yet.
Yeah, shout out Nestor Cortez, the fucking New York Yankee MVP right now.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say, by the way, about the weekend of
about
baseball
the series
that you had? Yeah.
Well, there's not. Look, I kind of said what I needed to say on Morning Wood. There was.
Well, I mean, I feel like more people are gonna listen to this. So why don't you?
Well, look, great performance Friday night from Caprillion. Needed that. It was good. It was an emotional start. Former first-round pick for the Yankees. Dealt with some injuries. Got traded.
Dallas, you lost the series. You can't start with great performance from my guy in Oakland.
I just did. I just did. Great performance from my guy on Friday night.
How about a little bit of credit? How about a little bit of credit for the Yankees? How about a little credit?
We're going to get there.
All right.
But the series has a start to it. Mm-hmm. And it started well for the A's. And in that game, James Caprillion, one of my guys, threw the ball well, considering the surrounding emotion. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to make sure that folks appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. Was his dad there?
His dad was not there.
And
actually, you know what? We didn't have confirmation that his father was there, and on top of that, we don't have control of the cameras when the team is away. Mm-hmm. So should he have been there, we still wouldn't have been able to do shit about it, which sucks. But that is what it is. And then the weekend series, the weekend games, A's were winning. A's were winning these ball games into the 6th inning, and then once they lost the lead, like I said, that's all that mattered, is because they never regained it, and whoever has the lead at the end of the ball games, that's really all that matters.
That's the winner.
Huge spot on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Huge spot for the A's. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Already up 4. And Nestor fucking Cortez comes in and absolutely mows down the meat and potatoes. And that was it. That was it. That was the moment of the game, that 3-inning window where he came in and just absolutely castrated the Oakland offense, allowed them to come back. And then Sunday, Saturday Chris Bassett threw the ball well. It was not his best outing by any means. Battled through the outing.
I was listening to the broadcast, A's Yankees. There's a couple things I'd like to talk about as it pertains to the broadcast, Dallas. But there was one.
Sure, we're just no. I feel like I was going to wrap up with Sunday, which is what you wanted to do. We're going to get to get right to Sunday. I don't think
conversation that you guys were having
touched on everything Saturday,
but it was you guys were talking about if you could only send one All-Star between Sean Manaea or Chris Bassett to the All-Star game, because obviously Ole's going.
Oh no! I don't know. That wasn't it wasn't a conversation about between the two. I think it was.
Well, I think you guys thought like they're like both are worthy.
Yes,
but only one is probably going to go.
Yes. And we
Which
felt.
one do you think it is? Manaea.
What's that?
Did you say Manaea?
No. I mean, going into that game, we felt like it was probably going to be Chris Bassett. I think just because of the way he is, because of the way he's throwing the ball, but I think just because of him kind of becoming the tip of the spear for the A's, becoming that frontline guy. He had the emotional, his first complete game. But Sean Manaea has kind of, I guess, quietly put together his All-Star campaign as well.
He has.
And
but you guys lost the series?
Did not win the series.
No. And not only that, Dallas, but address it. Address it.
Address the fact that I said that there was going to be a sweep and there wasn't. Look, you got to understand.
Dallas, no.
We were winning those ball games.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's not that. Nope.
I don't know.
Not at all.
Figure out what it is that is preventing you from having the kind of success, that you know you can have.
Address it, Dallas. Address the sex.
Well, it sounds like your video cut out there. I was saying success, and your video, the audio. Is that what happened?
No, it seems to me like you were thinking about it. You know?
What I was thinking about was how Jesus Luzardo is trying to fix things. That's all I was thinking about. That's it.
So no apology to the younger listeners?
Look, you're going to make mistakes in life.
Uh-huh.
Things are going to happen.
This was no mistake.
And you should be forward facing when your name comes to call. And I'm here to tell you that as much as I like to be freewheeling, there was no intent. And if small children were listening and there was an explanation that was immediately necessary from the individual sitting next to that small child, you're welcome. I've prepared you for more awkward situations in life. You're fucking welcome. What else do you want me to say to that?
I mean, the conversation that I had to have with my son after you said that on the air, it wasn't comfortable.
No?
You kind of, at times, as a father, and I know that you can relate, having two daughters, as a father of a 4-year-old child, it's it's something that you kind of wish that you could plan yourself, and you're not forced into that conversation. So it was, I just wish I had more control over the situation. I wish that was a conversation that I could have had on my own time, and it wasn't forced to have on the spot because of you on the broadcast.
You know what's crazy is you never think that. I guess what I'm happy about is it wasn't as just full on. Like, I didn't stop after the word sex and then just keep it rolling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, trying to figure out the sex. Oh, shit. You know what? Yeah, that was not the word I was looking for. Because I had, obviously, success on my tongue, but I said sex first, and I was like, sex, that's not shit. That is not right at all. That is
not the word we were going for there.
Nope, that's now a compound word that doesn't exist. Gonna have to clean that up. That's what you do, Jared. I just consider it a changeup that got hung and fouled off.
That is preventing you from having the kind of success.
Success. I mean, you try to keep pushing. It was like getting stuffed at the goal line, and you're fucking driving those quad strength as hard as you can. And it's like, nope, you got stuffed.
I felt like White Sox Dave battling that piece of gum. Just
Success.
Shit. It's all right.
Success.
I do have to give a shout out. Nobody saw this, and God love her for it. Amazing. The wife of fellow left-hander John Means
Yes.
actually tweeted me.
Carolyn.
Yes, Carolyn, in response to that tweet, which was amazing, by the way. Hilarious.
What did she say?
I saw it and I started laughing instantly. And she said, well, they know what it takes to have good sex. Success. And I was like, oh, man. Yep. Got him. Fucking got him. It did. She was asked to take the tweet down.
Caroline.
Yeah, Caroline.
Yes.
Caroline Stanley Means.
Yes.
Yeah. But she's got a fucking phenomenal sense of humor. But yeah, she ended up taking the tweet down. And I was like, hey, I just want to make sure like you understand all good. I was not offended at all. I thought it was hilarious. Like, that's what social media is, fun, to have fun, laugh at yourself. You fuck up. Like, you can't laugh at other people if you can't laugh at yourself. It was hilarious on her end. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
She's great. Great fam. Yeah.
What are you chuckling about?
I'm glad you took the time to address it. It was bothering me.
Just got to wash it down.
Yeah. Just got to wash it down with some New Amsterdam vodka, which is the official vodka of Barstool Sports. Make sure to head to your local liquor store. Pick up the new summer co-branded Nav bottle. The same extra smooth 80-proof vodka now with custom Barstool labels made from some of the finest quality grains from America's heartland. New Amsterdam vodka is 5 times distilled for unparalleled smoothness and filtered 3 times for a clean, crisp finish. New Amsterdam vodka, the official vodka of Barstool motherfucking Sports, bro. Fuck yeah. I got drunk this past weekend.
Where at?
We just went into like Fenway both nights. And actually, no, I lied. We went into Fenway Friday, and then Saturday we went to Southie, dude.
Oh,
we went to fucking Southie, bro. Getting fucking hammered, dog.
What were you drinking?
Fucking lemonades with New Amsterdam vodka, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I was crushing Coors Lights and fucking some New Amsterdam fucking lemonades, bro.
Crush City.
Yeah, it's the drink of the summer. It's 3 series to watch this week. Big showdown in the NL East. I know that the Braves have disappointed you as much as they have disappointed myself. It was a good show. By the way, I don't know how you feel about this. You probably don't even care. But I think it should be illegal to have a 7-inning second half of a doubleheader be Sunday Night Baseball.
Yes. That is no. That's a huge no. Huge no.
Yeah.
The nation needs 9. The nation
myself.
deserves 9.
Yeah. Like, if you like the 7-inning doubleheaders, whatever, don't care. I don't like them.
Not on the main stage.
Yeah. Like
not on the main stage. Absolutely not.
Baseball, you can't have a 7-inning baseball game. Like, if
No.
that's your, like, hey, this is the only game in town, Sunday Night Baseball featured game, 7 innings? No. That should be illegal.
Yeah, that's not how that goes. That's a sideshow, is what that is.
Yeah. Anyways, the Braves won the second one, 1-0. Ronald Acuna Jr. homered. It was very exciting. Smiley was great, but the Braves are playing the Mets, and they're 5 games back. So even if they sweep, you're still at best case scenario 2 out. The Phillies are 4 back, so you can pull the Mets closer towards you, while also potentially leapfrogging the Phillies to get back into second place. This is an opponent that, I mean, not that the Braves have had great success against anyone this season, but the Mets have played the Braves really well this year.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Who do you like in this series? Because DeGrom's back.
DeGrom goes tonight, correct?
Yes. He keeps getting hurt and just immediately comes back, which is great. I fucking love that. I love that he's just, they're cautious with him or whatever. But I don't know. I'm looking at the pitching probables for the series, and you have DeGrom versus TBD. The game's tonight. How do you not know who the fuck is pitching for the Braves?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're...
It's DeGrom versus TBD.
They got off days coming up.
Game.
If they have off days coming up, you got to think about whether or not they're trying to manipulate. And they could go bullpen game to give a guy a day. There's.
No. Oh, they got a double header. This is a 4-gamer, huh? Wow, I thought it was only 3. All right, so it's a double header. DeGrom goes in the first game. And then you've got a makeup from a rainout on May 28th. So that's Monday. And then Tuesday, you've got Chuck Morton versus Strosho. And then they finish off Wednesday with Max Fried and David Peterson.
So DeGrom tonight, advantage Mets.
I don't know. It's hard to say because the Braves didn't announce a starter, so it's hard. It's hard to really know.
Yeah, I'm still going because the thought is DeGrom's going to be able to hit as well, right?
Right. He is hitting like 423, right?
Yeah, so this is a guy who's got more RBIs than earned runs allowed as a pitcher. So I just naturally tend to go with that guy. The problem is every one of those RBIs he's had has been very important for him in terms of the team winning the ball game when he's pitching. But I still go advantage DeGrom. That brings up a conversation I'd like to have, Jared, because it's got to be had.
About what?
Every time this comes up, it's got to be had.
What?
Say you've got Jacob DeGrom on your team right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a hit, and he's done what he does when he hits.
Mm-hmm.
But he's told you that swinging the bat last time is probably what landed us in the situation where we're starting to assess whether or not I can make my next start. So if you're the Mets and every fucking at-bat counts, you're going to need all 9 of you to try to score runs. And when DeGrom pitches, that seems to be tough. And even more so, he's the one scoring the runs when he pitches for us. So it's like we really need the fucking guy to show up on the day he pitches, like not only as the pitcher but the hitter too. Well, if him hitting is potentially going to take away from him pitching, but you have to hit him, would you entertain asking Jacob DeGrom to not compete? Would you entertain asking Jacob DeGrom to be okay with going out and trying to win a big league ball game with an 8-man offensive lineup? Because if you're not okay with that, then you got to start thinking about ways where you wouldn't have to present Jacob DeGrom in a position where he could be susceptible to injury again. And I feel like there's a way around that.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to some of the stuff that DeGrom was saying, he was like, none of this is like related to each other. It's just like nicks and dents and shit just happens. And he's not, I think he was trying to like deflect the injury prone narrative by saying, this happened because of this and that happened because of that. And they're none of it's all like related to each other. And He's basically trying to put the fans at ease. Like, don't worry about this. Like, I'm good. We're good. We're going to keep chugging along. And he said that. I mean, he threw the next day after he came out of his last start. He was down on the field throwing the next day, and I saw some Mets fans were freaking out, being like, "Why? Why is he throwing? Like, have him rest, have him recover." And DeGrom's just like, "I'm good. Like, I'm fine. Like, don't worry about me." So all eyes will be on DeGrom on Monday. We'll see how that goes if he's able to.
Yeah. What happens if we get another 5 1/3, 12 punch outs lifted because of his lat? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. But
like,
it's not,
I can
it's one of those
understand and
things where it's
respect the
rest.
idea
It's
that
not
this
like,
is
hey, get him
all
out of the night.
independent and separate, acute, minor, nagging little just pop-ups. But you do start to assess whether or not they're like, is this a sign of a breakdown in the kinetic chain? And the areas that we're starting to see flare up are like precursors to other stuff. Like, I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I didn't take those advanced classes, Jared. So,
Yeah.
But I think about shit like that because I understand that, typically where there's smoke, there's fire with injuries, and you got to be as diligent as possible to make sure the things that are affecting the injuries around them are strong as well.
Yes. So we'll see what happens with DeGrom. Next series. Actually, who do you like? Who do you like in this series? We didn't
In
really
the Mets
say.
Braves series, I like the Mets.
You like the Mets 3 out of 4?
I could see a split. I like Stroh. I like DeGrom. Who'd you say the other probables were?
Max Fried, David Peterson on Wednesday to close it out.
And I think I like Friedberg there.
He's been pitching better of late, yes.
Yeah, it hasn't been outstanding, but it's ticking up. Red Sox, they're up on the Rays, Carrabis, by a half game.
Little halfer, yeah.
Little half, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
You guys swept the series earlier this year. Earlier, what was that? April 5th through the 7th?
It was the series. So, like, they started off their season by getting swept by the Orioles, who are fucking terrible. And I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, here we go again with the 2020 bullshit. It's like we get swept by the Orioles, who are terrible. Now we're gonna play the Rays, who they're probably we're gonna start the fucking season 0-6, and then they swept the Rays, and they've kind of just been in first place ever since. Like Tampa over like the last like 2-3 weeks, they had to go 24-5 to take over first place, and then they've lost 6 straight since then. So Red Sox are entering this series in sole possession of first place by a half a game. Half game.
And you have probables for this series? Because one question that was going to be asked of you.
What's the question?
With no Glasnow,
Uh-huh.
how excited are you about the Tampa Bay Rays? How confident are you that the Tampa Bay Rays will continue to just push along and be able to cover those innings to the extent of the production that they were getting from Glasnow now? And I'm not asking you as someone who is assessing this series between their favorite team. That's not who I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking the guy who makes sure that everybody knows he had the Tampa Bay Rays running away with this division.
I didn't say running away. I picked them to win the division before the season started.
I think running away was a strong emphasis. It was an emphatical point you were making that it was going to easily be something that they did. So
No,
here we are.
I had them winning the division, and to this point, they've proven why that was my pick. I mean, I
To
think
what point? To what
main-
point? If we're doing Carrabis math, this point in our world right now does not have them in first place. It doesn't have them winning the division.
They're a half game back, and we're almost at the All-Star break. And I
If-
feel like a lot of
if
people
the
before
season
the season
were to
just wrote
end
them off.
today, Jared, who would be
No,
the division winner?
But it doesn't. There's still a long way to go. And I think before the season started, everyone was ready to hand the division to the Yankees. They were the heavy, heavy favorite to be the American League representative in the World Series. They've wildly underperformed. They're criminally mediocre. I think their run differential is 0, maybe. Yeah, it's exactly 0. The exact definition of mediocre are the New York Yankees. The Red Sox have overachieved. And then you have the Tampa Bay Rays, who have a plus 73 run differential. Red Sox are at plus 34. Blue Jays are plus 43. So that's about what I expected, was the Tampa Bay Rays would be the best team in the division, and then you'd have kind of like a 3-team race for second place. And the Red Sox just entering the series happened to be a half game back. But that's one of the more confusing things, is the Toronto Blue Jays having a plus 43 run differential and being at dead 500, 35-35, entering play on Monday.
You got to pitch it.
Yeah, I mean, they've scored 351 runs, and they've allowed 308 runs. They've allowed fewer.
How many is that?
Runs
That's got to be how many runs? 308.
Yeah, they've allowed 20 fewer runs than the Red Sox.
It still feels like that's like a lower. I would have that in the lower half of baseball.
Yeah, there are some dog shit teams that have allowed damn near 400 runs.
What do you mean? There are teams that have allowed 400 runs.
Are there? There must be National League teams.
The Diamondbacks, 416
Diamondbacks.
runs allowed. The Colorado Rockies, 379 runs allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Halos in the AL, 369 runs allowed.
Yeah.
Wow.
This series could go either way.
How about this? There's only 3 teams. Oh, never mind. I'll stop. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, never mind. I was going to say that haven't allowed 300 runs. There's quite a few.
Yeah, this series could go either way, I think.
I think it's skewing Boston.
You do?
I'm still asking for the probables.
Eduardo Rodriguez, Andrew Kitteridge, Garrett Richards, Rich Hill, Nick Pivetta, TBD.
Ooh. Garrett Richards, Dick Mountain?
Yep.
That'd be a nice matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this leans more
Rays?
Tampa. Yeah.
You don't like the E-Rod matchup?
Nope.
Against those Rays coming after the lefty?
I don't like the game 1 matchup. I don't like the game 2 matchup. And then I don't even fucking know who's pitching in the finale besides Pivetta, who's he's not been super great. I think I got Rays 2 out of 3.
That hurts.
It's called being unbiased.
There is another series, and I have my eye on this series.
Ooh.
Dodgers.
Ooh.
3.5 game lead right now.
Mm-hmm.
They won their first 2 meetings against the Padres.
Yeah.
Padres have won 4 out of their last 5.
Yep.
That is an exciting series strictly because of who I may or may not have sniffing the postseason. And I did see a tweet. I believe somebody said the San Francisco Giants at this point could play 500 baseball for the remainder of the season and have 90 wins.
Oh.
Which would have them, I think, maybe in a conversation for the postseason. No, I don't know that 90 wins that division, Jared.
No, it doesn't.
No, I don't think it does.
No.
And if 90 wins doesn't win the division and they're not going to win that division, then that means we're talking about second place for the Giants, right? Bare minimum?
95?
Well, let's just say that they don't get to 95 wins, and another team in that division does.
Well, I mean, we know that, like, fair or unfair, it's going to take 100 or more wins to win the NL West this year. No, let me rephrase that.
I feel like I was going to set it at 97 and a half. What?
Yeah, let me rephrase. I don't think you will need 100 wins or more to win the NL West, but the team that wins the NL West will win 100 plus.
Yeah. Because I think that's fair. That's fair.
So you have a series between the Dodgers and the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
They're separated by how many games? 3?
Yes.
Dodgers are 1.5 back of the Giants.
1.5
the
out.
Padres are 5 back. They're both playing pretty good baseball right now. I know that the Padres are 5-5 over their last 10, but they've won their last 4 straight. Dodgers have won 8 out of their last 10. They've won 3 straight. So they're kind of catching each other at a very interesting time.
Yes. Well, what the reason that I'm paying attention to this series is because if the Giants just continue to play good baseball, which they've done, really it feels like there's only going to be separation created between the Giants and these other 2 clubs instead of any one of those 2 clubs catching the Giants. Because it doesn't feel like you got a sweep kind of scenario on your hands where the Dodgers just not only take out the Padres and create separation between themselves and them, but then also start nipping at the heels because all it takes, you win 2 out of 3 and the Giants lose 2 out of 3, we've got a shift in the standings, but now the Padres are that much farther behind the San Francisco Giants.
Have you acknowledged on the broadcast that you think that there's going to be a little sniff going on?
There was a bug that flew up my nose
in
the studio, and I may or may not have sniffled when talking about the Giants' potential postseason, and so there may have been I could see if somebody put those 2 together where I was like, yeah, Giants postseason, and I think that's so. So yeah, if they want to take that, then maybe I've started to entertain the notion, Jared.
See, you're at least you're wafting.
There's an aroma.
Yeah, there is a it's very pungent, isn't it?
Well, I feel like I feel like the old cartoon where Foghorn Leghorn is the big giant rooster, and he's standing around the corner from the kitchen window that's got a fresh apple pie sitting on the windowsill, and the scent waves just start making its way underneath his nose. Well, I was say that. You gotta give me that. Say you gotta taste your apple pie, girl. Maybe I'm there.
Okay.
Maybe I'm there. I don't know that I'm right.
That's gonna make some individuals in that clubhouse happy.
But that's why I'm paying attention. That's why I'm paying attention to this series right now between the Padres and the Dodgers. Probables. Hit me with the probables, Carrabis.
All right. Let's see. We have in game 1 Julio Urias versus Yu Darvish. That'll be a good one.
Oh, that will be a good one.
Yeah. And then you got in the middle game Clayton Kershaw versus TBD. I hate TBDs. And then in the finale, you have Trevor Bauer versus TBD.
I mean, come on.
That's a lot. That's a lot to handle. That's a lot of firepower going for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Urias. Who'd you say? Kershaw and then Bauer?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
But you got Darvish in game 1.
Well, it feels like that's a good shot. Like that's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we
like
not
your
know
odds
the other
there.
two? Do they have days off too?
They have no. They're playing Thursday against the Cubs, so that must be a 4-gamer.
Yeah, I think I'm based on those guys on the mound. I think I'm rolling. I'm rolling with LA.
Does it change your mind that it's in San Diego?
Oh, makes it interesting.
Hmm.
Makes it interesting. I would love for the San Diego Padres fan base to turn that place into a like into an advantage. Like they have the ability to do it. They can do it. And it's so important to have that kind of energy surrounding your team when you're a team that feeds off of the energy that they have from their players. You get a fan base involved in that as well. Like that feels like a wave, like a never-ending wave for your opponent.
Yeah. So, do you have the balls to pick the Padres?
No, I don't.
You don't.
I'm still rolling. I will always side with pitching, with the pitching side of the matchup. Like I'd have to take a little bit deeper look and see what the because Bauer's throwing against the Padres this year already, hasn't he?
Yes.
Pitched well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't have any reason to think that siding with a better option on the mound, in my opinion, on that day, is going to fail me.
So then let me ask you this, Dallas. Do you have the fucking balls? Do you have the balls to say the Dodgers are going to sweep the Padres in their house?
I don't, because of the Darvish start.
I mean,
like Urias.
Julio Urias is a pretty damn good pitcher.
No question about it.
Whose bullpen do you like better?
No question about it. Ooh. I think I might have to roll with the Dodgers.
Okay, so if those two starters cancel each other out and you like the Dodgers bullpen better, then why don't you sack up and say that the Dodgers are going to fucking sweep the Padres at home?
Because things happen. Because baseball happens. Because I don't know if Nestor Cortez reincarnate is going to show up in a fucking situation for the San Diego Padres where they've got a nice little lead and then that just, boom, is what it is. Who knows? I can't do that, though, Jared.
So you're going to take them 2 out of 3.
I'll take 2 out of 3.
What happens if the Dodgers sweep and then you got to bring your sackless sack of shit to the podcast after the series is over?
Where is the aggression coming from on this random Dodger Padre series here?
Because just one time, I'd like you to have the balls.
I have nothing but balls.
lay
I've
a
been
take
calling
out there.
a team that's knocking on the door of a 95-win season a no chance in hell playoff team. And I've been sticking to that because I spouted that bullshit off way early in the season.
Yeah, it was early.
So I've got plenty of balls. Plenty of balls.
Yeah, but do you have any tickets?
We're going to see. I got to wait.
Do you have any tickets that you've bought through SeatGeek?
I will always thank SeatGeek for playing the role they did in my life a couple years ago when I caught live the fisticuffs going on, Rams-Cowboys playoff game. A couple fans getting after it. One fan literally took a bite out of the face of another fan, and I was a mere 2 rows away from it. And I would have been miles away from that, Jared, had it not been for SeatGeek.
Mm-hmm.
They put me in the thick of it. I've worked with them for a very long time. We've both worked with SeatGeek for a long time. All-star games, live events, other events that we've gone to, baseball games, postseason shit. Like, they're there. They got our back, and we're excited to have them back with us for this season. Live events are back. Rock shows. You see fucking Robbie at the Foo Fighters?
Yeah.
probably a SeatGeek endeavor. Probably. Just saying. They got all the tickets. Whether it's baseball, live concerts with Dave Grohl. SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make you tracking them tickets down as easy as humanly possible. They rate all the tickets from 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting a good deal. Remember, green, great deal. Red, you're getting fucked. Probably a better deal out there for you. So do some homework. I promise you, when you're sitting in the front row, you're not going to be pissed off that you did your homework and you found that green deal. And right now, I've got a sweet deal, as green as it comes. Use code STARTING for $20 off your first order. That's starting, and it's going to be $20 off. All right? Whatever you're getting into, $20 off on your boys and SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app. Click the Me tab. That's the Me tab, and enter code STARTING. You'll be on your way.
Love that. Love SeatGeek.
Big fan.
You know what else I love? Fucking lobster mac and cheese.
I like lobster mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's expensive right now. Lobster is expensive. It's like $22 for fucking lobster mac and cheese, and that was just my side order.
What, out on the East Coast? Don't you guys got lobsters swimming around all over there in Boston?
Yeah, I know we do, but trying to swim into this fucking David Wells interview from the clouds. This is a good one. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll catch you on the other side. All right, we are here with David Boomer Wells,
baby.
Guys.
So I gotta ask you, because I feel like this is definitely a first for me, being the guy off to the side. I'm sure both of you have had this experience before. We have two perfect game throwers talking to each other today. I'm curious, have either of you, like, what are the conversations that you've had with others who have name some of the guys? This guy threw a perfect game. I had a conversation with him. Like, who are some of the guys on that list?
Well, David Cohn, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Don Larson, you know, the trio that we had. So we were really tight for a long time till Don passed away a year and a half ago. But, you know, I'm sure I've ran into some other guys, you know, in time, but not really, you know, to have deep conversation. It was usually just Don, Dave, and I. And before we go, can you, like, right behind you, there's a Pat Gillick emblem. Can you put a Band-Aid over that? Because I hate seeing that name. That guy was a prick. I had to single-handedly ruin my career.
Unreal. I'll change
what
it
do we got to do to get Pat Gillick around and tell him to kick fucking rocks, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, if he walked in the door here, I probably would knock him out.
No love lost for Boom. Yeah, hey, Boom. Seriously, just because of I guess how I've regarded you in my life, being a fellow lefty, just having love for the lefties that have done it before me, but I've got a ton of love for Coney as well, and I even call him Coney and almost cringe doing it, because that's reserved for guys way cooler than me. Like Mr. Cone is who he is to me, right. But he's taken time and time again to speak to me and treat me as an equal. And knowing that you two have that under your belt and done in such a storied place for such a storied squad, Jared, outstanding move. Let's go to outer space, buddy. What is that feeling like, to just like the nonverbal communication? Like, you're looking at him, he's looking at you. You know, you're a couple of badasses having done what you did on that diamond with all of those fucking ghosts looking over and watching.
No, I mean, it was pretty insane. And I don't know. I think when you threw yours, I might have reached out and congratulated you. I don't know who was the clubby up in Oakland. I think it was, I don't know. I think Mikey was still there, but usually when a guy does it, I send him a bottle of Dom Perignon.
There you go.
When they do that. So I don't know if you got it or not.
Yeah, they probably. I don't know if that bottle of Dom made its way past the clubbies or not, but the sentiment was definitely sent. Yes. So no,
right.
and it's cool because shit like that happened to me, and Mark Burley picking up the phone and calling. Was there anything that happened to you after, like, well, before, you know what? To hell with that. Rewind. Fuck that. Let's talk about the night before. All right? Let's talk about the night before, because I had just, honestly, within the last year, I had just revealed that that I had kind of been up to some of the same things, not with some of the same cast members, quite literally, as you, because you're kicking it with Jimmy fucking Fallon the night before. I mean, Saturday Night Live party. From what I understand, the episode had already been aired. It was already, the season finale was already a done deal. So you guys are just getting after it because you're cool. Just a couple of guys being dudes. So how does that start? And then take us through the evening, like the moment you're like, you know what? I think I've got it. Bro, no, fuck it, let's go. Keep it rolling.
No, I mean, it wasn't meant, I mean, it wasn't premeditated. I usually went to every Saturday Night Live gig, you know, that was in town when we were in town. But, you know, just I took my son to dinner that night. My dad brought him in for my visitation. And then I said, hey, I'm going to Saturday Night Live. I'll see you, you know, shortly after. And because, I mean, as long as I got 5-6 hours of sleep, I was good to go. And then I got kind of coached into going into the after party, because I always went to those as well. And, you know, Marcy Klein, she hired all the talent. She was Lorne Michaels' right-hand woman. And so I ended up going. She called me a pussy, so I go, well, I got to go now.
Got to go.
So one thing led to another. And before you know it, Jimmy and I always sit with Lorne at his table, and then I'm there for a bit, and then all the cast are the guests that night. They come over, hang out, and I get to meet them. But then I just kind of slid off and started hanging out with Jimmy. I think Seth Meyers, Will Forte, I think Horatio. I forgot Horatio's last name, Sands or something like that. But it was we just started drinking, and before you know it, we started drinking more. About 5:30 in the morning, I am shit-faced. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. I go, I got to pitch. I got to leave. I got to pitch in a couple hours. And I'm like, who's leaving first, Jimmy, you or me? He goes, you go first. I said, no, you go first. So we got in this little high school little tizzy.
I'm not going.
I go, fuck it. So I got in a cab, and actually they had a car for me, and it took me back to the Upper East Side. And I mean, I did a face plant right in my bed. And 2 hours later, my son wakes me up and says, Dad, cook me breakfast. I'm like, no, man, go have Grandpa cook it. And he goes, no, you can't. You cook better than Grandpa. So I'm like, fuck. I get up. And then here comes the coffee. I'm just starting, because I'm blowing probably 3.5, maybe 5.0. So I made breakfast, and I get him in a cab because they have to go back to Florida. He had to go back to his mom. And so I walked across the street, got a Starbucks with about 5 extra shots in it. And I'm just trying to wake up. And so I got to the ballpark, and Coney's like, whoa, dude. He goes, go hide. I go, why? He goes, you stink. So I'm like, all right. So I went back into the masseuse room, and I said, Rohan, just work on my legs. I mean, because if anything's going to go, it's your legs. Yep. And when your legs are done, you're done. And so I just I still went through my routine that I did that day, every 5 days. And I had the worst bullpen of my life. It fucking sucked. And Milt Stottlemyre's like, Boomer, you're doing good. I said, fuck that. And I threw 2 balls out of the stadium. I was so pissed off. I was throwing 39-foot curveballs. My fastball was all over the place. I'm like, I'm done. Let's go. I cut my routine short, walked in. I go, if this is as good as I got, I'm in trouble today. And then first pitch of the game, by 95 right down the middle, I'm like, where'd that come from? And I'm like, and then then that shit happened. I'm like, don't ask me how. But it was funny because I was looking for a conversation, and nobody would talk to me. Nobody. I remember going sitting between Brocious and Tino Martinez, and they got up and they went each way. And I'm just like, ah, damn, somebody talk to me. And then 8th inning, I think Coney goes, hey, he comes up to me and he goes, you need to break out your knuckleball. And I'm like, knuckleball? I said, I don't throw a knuckleball, Coney. He goes, yeah, you do. We play catch every day. You got a great knuckleball. I'm like, I ain't throwing no fucking knuckleball. He goes, you show me nothing if you don't do it. So 9th inning, I go, all right. I think that was the 7th inning. 8th inning, I come in, and he gets that vein popping when he's all hyped up and shoving his forehead. He's like, you show me nothing. He started calling me a pussy. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. And but he was just getting my mind off of what was going on, and I understood what he was doing then. But at least I had somebody to talk to.
Man.
Is there like one part of
That's fucking
like
awesome.
baseball's unwritten rules where you would just fucking toss it out? Like, is it that, like, as a pitcher, are you saying, like, I mean, while you're working on a perfect game, the unwritten rule of you can't talk to that guy in the dugout, everyone avoid that guy in the dugout, is that one of the ones that you would toss?
That's the cardinal rule. Nobody talks to you. Nobody wants to be the jinx. You know, everybody. I think everybody that once you get engaged and you know what's going on, I think everybody becomes superstitious because then they're starting to do the same shit over and over because they don't want to jinx it. So they would feel bad. So that's kind of what I think, because I know, you know, when guys were throwing no hitters and, you know, and I wasn't there for Coney's, but I remember guys, you know, pitching and doing the same thing, and they got a no hitter, a perfect game going through 6-7 innings. You kind of find yourself doing the same things that you're doing because you don't want to jinx them. So that's how it happens that way.
Yeah. Which if it weren't that rule specifically, which unwritten rule in baseball would you nix?
I don't know, man. There's too many. I mean, there's too many. There's too many. I would definitely, you know, right now with the game going, I mean, I hate umpires. I would have to find something that we could do away with these umpires. I mean, they just, you know what we should do is you should be able to bump them and do whatever. Actually, you should be able to punch one of them if you want, because there's a couple guys I wanted to punch over time, but you know, with the umpires, they ruin the game, I think. But they're right a majority of the time, and there's some great umpires. Don't get me wrong, but it's those ones that are douchebags. We should have free will at them.
See, and now how do you feel? How do you feel about this? Because anytime there's something, whether it's on the field, lack of production, your name's getting called out, and look, that's something that comes with the territory. We understand that. You go out there, you get your ass kicked, you know, you get your face beat in, you're going to get talked about. The media's going to have their opinions. It is what it is. Umpire goes out and has a terrible game. If you know their name is about the extent of the sort of publicity they're going to get or whatnot, are you all for creating a database, creating a log of some sort to be able to put on display to show these fans, like, look, this is how so-and-so did behind the plate. This is what their ratings was, because there's Twitter accounts out there, Boomer, that kind of do that show how well these guys have done behind the plate, grading them and whatnot. But I feel like there's a level of accountability that does need to be had because they're in a high-profile position. I feel like they reap all the benefit, but don't necessarily have to wear any of the, you know, disgruntled fandom per se.
Right. You know, I think that's for guys like Lenny Dykstra. He had stuff on umpires that was off the chart. The stories that I heard right there was insane. He would basically, you know, when he comes up to bat, he goes, I know what you did last night. Do this, that. So he had them under his hip pocket. I think like Schilling and Clemens and guys like that who really engage in stuff like that. I remember a guy, actually he's in prison now, Chad Curtis. We were teammates with the Yankees and the Tigers, and he had this book. He had this book on pitchers, and I think he had it on umpires too, with certain guys doing that. I never got engaged because I didn't like them all. I threw strikes, so I made their job easy. Sure. So to me, it was just, you know, the ones that, you know, would want to stick it up your butt, like Ken Kaiser. Ken Kaiser would say, you come into my charity event, and if you say no, you're going to have a bad day out there. And I remember Clemens telling me that he was out there pitching, and he threw the first pitch down the middle, and it was a strike. He called it a ball. And Kenny walks out. He's rubbing the ball, and he goes, "You coming to my charity event?" And Roger's like, "Yes, I am." And he goes, and then he was getting shit that far outside. So it's just stuff like that, how umpires would do. But like Tim McClellan, I didn't get along with. You know, Al Clark, I tried to get thrown out of baseball because when I threw the perfect game, I signed a bunch of stuff for him, but he was selling them as game-used balls, and I never gave him any. So that was a big fiasco there. It was terrible. But
was he behind the dish, Boomer, for your game?
No, Tim McClellan was.
Yeah,
Tim
Granddad.
McClellan.
That's
Yeah.
me and my younger teammates. We nicknamed Tim McClellan Granddad just because of how big he was and how he talked.
Yeah.
And, and
Yeah, and he's
everything.
he's a Michigan State. He's a Sparty. So, and Kurt Gibson, he went there, but it's like, and my son's at Michigan State now. But to me, it's like he was more of a veteran guy, but we just never got along. And I would always fight him because you know as well as I do, you're pitching a great game. The strike zone's there, and all of a sudden, 8th inning, 7th, 8th inning, the strike zone changes. Yeah. And the stuff you were getting early now is not there. And that's frustrating. So I would say something. And before you know it, here I am fighting City Hall and trying to get back to where I am. Sometimes you just have to throw the ball down the middle of the plate because you ain't getting shit that day. So, let them hit it to somebody else. Make your job easy. Just if guys didn't swing, you're going to lose the game. You're going to walk the park. And that's one thing I never did.
Are you watching a lot of today's baseball?
I haven't watched it in 2 years. I can care less about the game. When you get Rob Manfred out of the game, I'll start watching it.
Interesting.
Boom.
What's your biggest grief that you would like to take a part of talking to Rob Manfred about?
Take the politics out of the game. What he did to Atlanta is a joke. And I hope everyone down there, all the businesses that are losing out, sue the hell out of him, out of Major League Baseball. Because, you got to take the politics. And the way we're going right now, it's a bunch of crap. I mean, we're so divided, it's ridiculous. But now it's in all the sports. It's to me, it's not supposed to be. That's a place to go for 4 hours, have a great time. But then when you start changing these rules, and I happen to be at my buddy's restaurant here in San Diego, Papamoose Grill, my buddy Jeffrey, and Chuck and I were at the bar eating. And the game was on, so I couldn't do it. And it was extra innings, the Padres and the Astros. It goes into extra innings. All of a sudden, they put a guy on second. I'm like, what the hell is that? They go, I didn't see a double. They're like, no, they put a guy on second base now and to speed the game up. I'm like, no, I've seen it all. And what they're doing and implementing and doing all these rule changes, that's not baseball. Babe Ruth and Gehrig and all those guys are going to be turning over in their grave, seeing this shit what goes on. I don't want no part of it because they want all the spin rate, they want exit velocity, there's WAR, all that shit's been there since day one. It takes these cronies, these analytic guys who travel with the team now, from what I understand, and it's just like do away with all that shit and just go back to basic old school baseball, and maybe I'll start watching it again.
Thoughts on the DH, because like I'll tell you this, I'm a purist at heart. Love the game and what being a well-rounded ball player represents. Being able to take the mound and execute whatever's asked of you on the mound, and then with a bat in your hand, whether you be good enough to be allowed to swing away, move a runner over via the bunt or sacrifice, whatever. And we understand that numbers, to your point, Boomer, have come into the game to where the game is played differently. Being able to or willing to sacrifice outs is thought of differently, whether or not that's a gamble or a move teams are willing to take. So if you had the opportunity to, I guess, keep baseball at a purist level and understanding that, well, there might be numbers that tell you it's a better way to go about this, we still like the idea of strategy and the pitcher hitting, because that's, for me, the biggest rule that would change the complexion of the game in its entirety. So you, Boomer Commissioner, DH across the board, or are we going pitchers hitting across the board? Because I do find it weird. Like, what are your thoughts on the league playing two different brands of baseball under two different rules and then coming together in October to play it, kind of that way for a few games and then kind of this way for a few games?
Well, I mean, when I came up, Goss, it was DH in American League, and I was an American League guy till I went to the National League and started to hit. And so you would think, like in the World Series, that National League would always have the advantage because of the hitters. When you go to their park, you're going to hit. And then when they come to ours, you're going to get a DH. I would say keep it, if you're going to do it, have both the pitchers hit in each league, and do it that way, or put a DH in there, do one or the other, but don't keep it the way it is. I think I always thought that way, even when I was in the American League. I thought the National League should have had a DH as well, because then you bring one person into play. You could revive somebody like Eddie Murray, great DH. You know, I had him there. You know, Brad Fulmer couldn't play for crap out in the outfield, but he was a hell of a hitter, you know, and he was a great dude. But, you know, that's a place for, you know, power hitters, you know, to do their stuff. That's why the DH was in place. But to me, it's got to be one, it's equal both ways. Because I hated to hit.
Yeah, because what were you? One of your last stops was what? San Diego in 2004.
2004, San Diego, and then 5 and 6 in Boston, and then back to San Diego, and then the Dodgers was my last team for the last 6 weeks of the.
So San Diego at that point in your career, are you sitting there thinking like, why that? Because I mean, the older that you would get, it's like I have to imagine some of these older guys are like, I can still get out there and give you 6-7 innings, but I'm not trying to get up there and fucking swing the bat after. Like, what? How much did you enjoy the National League rules when you're playing in the National League at the later parts of your career?
Well, I hated to hit for one thing, so I would swing at the first pitch unless I got the bunt sign. Then I'm bunting, I'm happy to do it and just jog down there, you know, because I remember a game I pitched in 90, I think it was in 98, one of the best games I ever pitched besides a perfect game in Atlanta. And it was 3-2. It was probably in the third or fourth inning, 3-2. Chuck Knobloch's out. And so you got to run. He fouled off like 8 freaking pitches. And I was so goddamn tired, man. And it was the hottest day in the world. I ended up having one of the greatest games. I think I threw like a 2 or 3 hit shutout. And I mean, it was awesome. But man, all the running that I had to do in the hot weather, it just sucked. So, you know, to me, it's the hitting. I just wanted to get it over with. I was either, you know, get a base hit, make an out, or I'm going to get picked off on purpose because I don't want to be out here. But I hated to hit. Then that's the thing was, give me a bat. I'm swinging at the first pitch. I get a hit. Great. I got to run. If not, then we'll do it. I didn't give a shit about it. I wanted to get out. I just wanted to pitch.
See, and that's what arms want to do. Arms want to let it eat. Let me ask you, based on the way pitching is handled today, the expectation of our brethren on the mound is, look, what was expected of me when I came up in 07 was very different than what was expected of you when you came up in the 80s. Very, very different. And today, very different as well. And you're a guy, look, you led the league in complete games in 99 and 2000. You're a 20-game winner. You led the league in innings pitched, 231 and 2/3. So out of all 3 of those things, those milestones, if you will, what is the one out of those that you're most proud of, that makes you feel like you can swell your chest and have to walk into the bar sideways? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the CG. I mean, it was great. When I got released by the Blue Jays and I went to Detroit, and Sparky says, "You're my number 5 guy." I said, "Perfect." And so to me, it was great because after you warmed up and you come in the dugout before you go back on the field, Sparky always said to all his pitchers, "See you in the 9th inning, kid." So if that's not, I mean, to me, that's just a booster for me to say, I'm going to go 9. He's going to give me he wanted the pitchers to finish the game. That's our job, is to go 9. If you get in trouble, Mike Henneman was our closer. He was a great closer. He was an awesome pitcher. But Sparky wanted to see his guys finish the game because that was our job. And he gave you every benefit of the doubt to do it. And to me, getting the complete game, you know, you're going through that whole grind and you know what it's like. And you know, so you're learning how to pitch in situations. You know, if you don't know, now they don't let you pitch out of trouble. They get you out of there. And that's the shitty thing about the game is these young kids don't know how to pitch out of trouble. And then when they when they do get in trouble, they're looking in the dugout for help. If you looked in the dugout for help with Sparky, you're in Double-A the next day. Ooh. That's how Sparky was. And that to me, that's a true manager right there. That's a true manager because he's believing in you. He's giving you all the confidence in the world to go out there and go 9. And that's what we're missing in the game today is good managing because of this analytics. They got these computer guys. He's terrible through the second time through the lineup. So that's why you see these guys maybe go a couple innings and get them out. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Why watch baseball that way?
Do you think that because of the way that you came into the league and the way that you learned the game from veterans when you were younger and managers that you had when you were younger, do you think that you are even capable of taking a pitcher from today's game and molding them into like a big leaguer? Do you think that if you were a veteran in a clubhouse right now, that you would be essentially speaking a foreign language to a kid that's 21, first-round draft pick, just got called up?
Well, you know what? They don't like when I was going to games, I go in a clubhouse or something, like nobody would come up to me. It was unbelievable. Unless I knew the guy, I'd go over and say hello to somebody that I knew. But when I was coming up through the league, anybody walked into that clubhouse, I went over there like a sponge and asked them, hey, how'd you hit against this guy, this pitcher? How would you hit against me? Or if it was a pitcher, how'd you get this guy out? So I just got information the best I could from great pitchers, that would come at Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium was awesome because I get to talk to Gator, Whitey Ford, I get to talk to Yogi Berra, I get to talk to all these guys, all these hitters. And that's how I learned, Goose Gossage even as well. And so to me, that's how I learned how to pitch from these guys. But you go in there, I was working with the Yankees, after I retired, and they didn't really want you to engage with them. They just wanted you to look and maybe give a little feedback. But, nowadays, if you talk to these guys, you get booted out of the clubhouse because they don't want that. They want to mold them themselves. It's a shame that these kids can't do it. Now, if I was there, I would push for, give me a guy. I'll show him I'll give him the ropes. I'll show him. I can't teach him I can give him advice. And these guys are already up there for a reason because they're good. But, to try to mold them into an old school guy and give him the confidence. Because you know what? If you can't trust your ability and you got to have somebody tell you about your ability, you don't need to be playing baseball.
What was the biggest piece of advice or the most influential piece of advice that you got as a young kid coming up, trying to figure this shit out on your own, trying to learn how to go about this? Because you said you're not afraid to talk to these guys, come Old Timers Day. But when you first walk in, because I had to figure out how I was going to handle that as well. Do I need to be that hard ass with a chip on my shoulder that knows what he's doing? How do I open up? And when you finally do, you hear things that help you. What was the first thing you heard that was like, you know what? I need to pay attention to this.
You know what? It was great because when I came up early on, Mike Flanagan came over from the Orioles. And so I think this was in 88 or 89. And, I was starting to come I was still in the bullpen because I came up a starter and I did that. But he just says, you know what? He goes, you need to establish inside. You need to pitch inside. You got to move people's feet. And if you don't do that, they're going to get comfortable on you and you might not last very long. But he goes, you need to own both sides of the plate. So you need to pitch in and out. And I'm like, okay. So I started doing that. I was having some good success. And then when I got released by the Blue Jays in spring training of 93, when I went to Detroit, Kurt Gibson, unbelievable, hard-nosed grinder. He was like the Ty Cobb of our era. He just a gritty, he'll take you out in any base, just a hard-nosed player. And he told me, he goes, Boomer, he would see me pitch and, we would talk. We became good friends and now best friends. And he's like, you know what? Do not be afraid to fail. If you're afraid to fail, he goes, I don't want you on my team. And that sat and resonated with me. Unbelievable. Because that's why I tell kids these days, young kids, when I talk to them, when I go to little leagues and stuff like that, don't be afraid to fail. Learn from your failures and become great, because that's what's going to happen. But these kids are afraid to fail these days. They don't want to make a mistake. It's okay to make a mistake. Shit happens, and that's what's going to make you a better person. Can't put that on Instagram
though, Boomer.
What's that?
So you can't put the failures on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can do whatever you want. It's just a matter of time before they cancel you. So fuck them. Cancel me. You ain't going to hurt my feelings.
Did you have a teammate that it was almost like a pass the baton type deal where it's like, all right, I go out there and I go 7 and then he goes 8 and now I'm trying to push myself in my next start, where it was kind of like this friendly competition? Like, who is that guy for you?
That was our 98 pitching staff with the Yankees. Everybody there, we try to outdo one another. And it was a game within a game amongst the pitchers. And let me tell you something, it was great because you had Pettit, you had Rabu behind you. I love Boo Boo. You know, God rest his soul, Coney. We had El Duque. You know, so we had such a good pitching staff in '98, and we would go out there and try to outdo each other. You know, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, the guy, whoever loses first, you're buying dinner for the rest of the, you know, for the pitchers and stuff like that. So that's a good way of looking at it, because you try to do there and you want to outdo one another. But we had such a good team behind us. You know, it's kind of hard to lose a game unless you go out like I did the night before and get come out perfect sometimes.
Yes, you do. Oh, that is that is so good. What I want to know is, who was Boomer's poster guy? Who's the dude that's hanging above your bed telling you at night you're going to go to the big leagues, Boomer? Little 8-year-old Boomer kicking his feet, dressed up in his Little League uniform night before the ball game. Who's that guy getting your fire started for you?
Babe Ruth.
Yes.
I did everything as a kid. You know, I did my, you know, whatever it was. I read up on him. I would do my
book
my
reports.
project. Everything was just Babe Ruth. I idolized the guy, but Ron Guidry and Steve Carlton were my idols, pitchers growing up. And so I tried to emulate. You can't emulate Ron Guidry because he just had a funky delivery. He threw a million, but it was great. But Steve Carlton and I had pretty much similar mechanics, and I always had good mechanics. So I kind of looked at him, you know, for mechanic wise, but I wanted to be Ron Guidry because I was a Yankee fan as well. But to follow those two guys, those were my biggest, you know, inspirations for me getting to the big leagues as well. But Babe Ruth was in my ear because I loved what he did and what he stood for in the game. And he was a rebel. And that's kind of how I became a rebel, because of Pat Gillick, because he screwed with me so much in the minor leagues when I got to the big leagues. And when I got there, they treated me like shit. So it's like, you know what? Thank you for making me who I am, Pat Gillick, because you know what? It could have been better if you would have just left me alone. There you go.
Yeah.
So
correct me.
go
Correct
ahead,
me
Jay.
if I'm wrong, but when you signed with the Red Sox, you wore number 3,
Right.
and then they signed Edgar Renteria, who was number 3 with the Cardinals, and then he wanted 3, so then you guys had to switch, and then he was 16, and then he gave you 16. Like, what was did he get you a watch? Like, how did he get number 3 from a guy that's a Babe Ruth fan?
Well, I got number 3 because of Babe Ruth and him starting his career in Boston. But I wasn't pitching very well. So I thought I jinxed the jersey. So when Edgar came over, he was 16 and I was already 16 in Detroit. So I'm like, dude, let's trade these jerseys straight across. Because normally, like, if I went to a team and, you know, a rookie or someone, you know, had a number that I wanted, you know, I'd buy him a Rolex. Give me the damn jersey and I'm going to give you a Rolex or whatever, you know, something like that. Do a good gesture. But Mike Piazza, when I went back to San Diego after Boston, Mike Piazza was there and he wouldn't give up 33. I ended up getting like 21. But he wouldn't give it up, and I was ready to kill him. It was just
what?
And then when
was there a negotiation?
No, he wasn't negotiate. And then in Boston, Veritek was 33,
Right.
so that's why. And he was the captain, so I didn't want to. You know, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, and I'm glad because he was such a great. Jorge was my guy, but I'll tell you what, Veritek was an unbelievable catcher, and I was blessed. I had good catchers coming through, you know, coming up through the Greg Myers, and Ernie Witt was my first catcher. And then Greg Myers, he was awesome for me. But then going to the teams, Mickey Tettleton, Chad Kruger were good. Then, you know, Benito Santiago was unbelievable catcher. So I was always blessed. John Flaherty, you know, he was unbelievable catcher. So I was always blessed to have good catchers behind me. But Jorge and Veritek were pretty special.
Boomer, I think Benito is still in the squat somewhere in Puerto Rico during the winter. I'm not shitting you. I showed up to winter ball in 2006, and Benito Santiago was throwing people out with both ears just rocked out, studded out from his knees. And I remember thinking to myself, is it like, I don't know if this is really cool for me, if this is bad for him. It can't be bad for him because I feel like he's 73 years old, still throwing people out from his fucking ass right now. So this is amazing to watch. It's incredible. Oh, no, he was great. I got to tell you also, side note, Boomer, we got this thing called the Barstool Barn Burner. I don't know how your arm is right now. I don't know if you've got an out or two in you.
I got 0, dude. I got nothing.
All right, we'll move on.
I couldn't break this window behind me from 2 feet with a rock. I just have nothing. Underhand, I could do it. Overhand, I got nothing.
Let me ask you, were you and if you mind sharing, that'd be great. If not, totally understandable. I'll tell you this. I'm on the record for having admitted my substance use on the pitcher's mound with rosin and sunscreen and all that. And I'm sure you have heard about the spider tack sticky stuff situation that's going on in baseball. If you haven't, today, Monday, is the first day that umpires are going to be allowed to start checking or being asked to start checking pitchers as they come in to ball games, right? Starters, relievers, maybe in between innings, after innings. That's what's going down today, Boomer. So before we get to your thoughts on that and how we can handle that, were you a rosin guy, sunscreen guy? Was there stuff that was getting used beforehand that I didn't know about? Because I'd like to think that I knew about everything that was getting used beforehand.
So don't we all?
But what do you think that conversation would have been like, in your prime, the conversation that's happening now around this stuff?
It would be outrage pretty much. But you look at Gaylord Perry, you look at Necro, you look at, even Nolan Ryan. He would, when I remember a game in Toronto and Jimmy Williams was our manager. And so we're the home team and he would get the ball and there was always these scuffs on the same spot on the baseball. So every ball would come out, Jimmy would get it and look at it. And when Nolan was pitching, it was like either Nolan's doing it or the catcher's doing it and maybe off the shin guard or something like that to get the ball to move. And Nolan didn't. He just threw a million anyways. But, to see stuff like that, it was like any advantage that we can get, we do. And, get a scuff ball, you're going to be able to make it dance. And now they throw everything out these days. But I did rubbing alcohol. I put on my wrist and then the rosin bag just to keep it going. Sometimes, like when it's cold, when they rub the balls are really, really slick and no seams. So I would just take my fingernail and I would raise the seams a little bit, but they'll get you for that.
Yep.
But you just find stuff. I would put pine tar in my glove just so I can get some friction when it was cold and stuff like that. So we all were guilty of trying to find something. But I think if the hitters can put pine tar in their bat, why can't we do something with the ball? I mean, I think it's fair. We need leverage too. But, I loved it when you'd fool a guy and he would lose his bat. He'd fling the bat at you. I'd go pick it up and I'd just grab it right at where all the rosin was and hand it back to him. And I remember Sandy Alomar, he threw his bat one time on action. I went to I grabbed it. He came out to get it and I grabbed it before him. And I was just grabbing it. And I was just like all on the pine tar. And he's yelling at the umpire, hey, he's got pine tar in his hand. And the umpire let it go, which was great. I think I ended up striking him out. He was pissed. But, to me, when you get something like that, you got to find an advantage because we're at a disadvantage now because the seams are so flat on the balls, and it's just, you need an edge and they're making it more for offense and it kind of sucks. And then, from what you're telling me now, they're going to check them. Aren't they supposed to speed the game up?
Hey.
Now they're going to slow the game down. So they got to get their heads out of their ass and figure something out because it's all about offense now. So what the hell?
Yeah. So I noticed that you said something along the lines of, you do anything you can to sort of get this competitive edge.
Right.
But what would the reaction of a veteran, call it 38-year-old Boomer Wells, is on the 2017 Houston Astros, and they're having a team meeting to be like, hey guys, listen up. This is what we're about to do. Do you sit there and say nothing? Do you sit there and say, all right, if this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do? Or do you speak up and say, actually, you know what? We're not going to do this.
It would be hard because, if you're the veteran guy, you can do stuff on the side. You can tell your pitchers or wherever your hitters to say, hey, listen, that's going to get a lot of people hurt. You're going to look at it that way. Just be smart about it. But, there's a code in the game. I've seen so much shit in my career, and you just don't say anything. You just go with the flow, but you don't have to be involved in that. You could be the guy there, but you got to protect your players. But when it comes down to it, if something like that happens and you don't comply, you're going to get ridiculed, and everyone's going to look at you as the bad guy. They might move you, but so to me, it's just, guys are keeping their mouth shut. But when it comes down to it, and are you going to go to prison for somebody? No, I'm not going to go to prison. Why would I want to go to prison? For something this idiot did and do that. So it's kind of like the same thing. You just kind of hold your tongue, but you just deal with it in your own ways, and you can talk to the guys on the side. But if it's to a point where it bothers you that much, then ask for a trade, get the hell out of there. But yeah, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and I don't want to have to go out there and protect every hitter because we're cheating, and we know we're cheating. It just sucks in that aspect.
What is your reaction when you walk out of the bullpen to start your ball game, and as you're crossing the line, Tim McClellan stops you and says, "Hey, David, let me see your arms. Let me see your cap. I'm going to need to see the inside of your belt as well. I need you to make sure your glove as well, lefty." Like, how would you react to basically being strip searched before going out to start the ball game, inning one?
It wouldn't sit very well with me, Dallas. I'd tell him to piss off. I say, you know what? Go do your job. Let me do my job. If you see anything, you're watching me the whole time. If you see anything out of character, then come out and check me then. But until then, you have nothing on me. I'm already guilty going out there, compared to the league. So why are you going to do that to me? If you see something new, because here's the thing, hitters know when that ball's moving, a guy doesn't he only has this much movement. All of a sudden he's got that much movement. A lot of hitters check the ball, tell the umpire to check the ball. So why can't you just go back to the old school? When you see something and the pitchers and the hitters, hey, I've never seen that before from this guy, then you got every right to ask. But until then, don't go out there and start pissing the pitchers off right away. Because to me, that's going to get people hurt, because especially if you're going to sit there and show me up, I'm going to drill you at the next at bat. I don't give two shits. We're going to go at it, but don't show me up. I'm not going to show you up. But if you start, a lot of guys like to talk and talk smack. And then it's like, okay, well, you know what? 95 hurts, if I can get you in your elbow and your kneecap, I'm going to get you there. I'm going to put you out of the game. So to me, it's quit doing that. Just out of character, don't find a guy guilty before he's even started the game, because, we go through a routine. Why you want to try to break my routine up? I'm trying to concentrate on the game. Don't tell me I'm already cheating unless you see something out of context.
Mm-hmm. 21 years in the big leagues, who was the one guy, it could be a starter, could be a reliever, even a position player, when it wasn't your start day, you're in the dugout and you're a fan of that guy? Like, I'm lucky I get to watch that guy.
I played a long time, so I got to hang around a lot of good pitchers and all that. I rooted for everybody. I really did. Coney was my guy. That was my partner in crime. Mark Burley, when I came up, Mark Burley was with the White Sox, a young kid, kind of a prodigy. I loved watching him pitch. I loved to succeed. I like to see everybody succeed. But to me, it was, the guys on your team you had to pull for, because we're in it for one reason and one reason only, is to try to put that hardware on our finger. So, but, your buddies you want to pull for. So guys that, were really good teammates, even though you're not on their team, you're pulling for them. Even when it's against you and you're not pitching, going mano a mano, you still want to see him do good. You want him to lose by one run, but you don't want to see him get his ass kicked. So you just try to root for everybody. Keep it simple.
Boomer, we know you've got a ton of shit to do, and that's why we want to thank you for taking the time to hang out with us. This has been awesome for me, man. I could crack several beers and talk baseball with you all damn day. So we got one question left. This is the final question we ask each and every one of our guests. And I feel like I've got an idea of where this might be going, Carrabis, and you can come along for the ride, big boy.
That's fine.
If you could jump in a hot tub time machine,
A regular time machine.
put you in a hot
One
tub
of my
time
favorite
machine,
movies, go-to movie.
send you back to any moment in baseball history, and you can witness it live. What moment and why?
God, you know what? It's easy for me because anything that has to do with Babe Ruth, I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I
He had
want
a killer career
so bad because I think if him and I were on the same team, you know, you got pitcher and hitter, it would be tremendous. It would be chaos, but it would be awesome. But just to go back and hang with that dude, with Luke Gehrig, you know, all that whole 1927 Yankees, which we were better in 98.
Murderers Row, right?
Murderers Row. But just to be there with that 27 team and hang out, that would be the ultimate for me. Because,
man,
you know,
guys would set the world on fire.
Okay, just a bunch of scum. I mean, like 98 team, we had a bunch of scumbags. And your backdrop, all those guys right there, there's a couple there that were, you know, that went to bed early and all that. We were all scumbags. That's why we
burning it down.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yes,
Does the train car with you and George Herman Ruth, does that thing ever stay on the tracks? There's no way we can let you two in the same train car together.
No.
It would be chaos, but it would be a lot of fun. And you know that because he saved the game of baseball.
Oh, did
so
he?
when you go that route, if you don't want to hang out with Babe Ruth and live that lifestyle, you're an idiot. You gotta go out there and do it. And I encourage everyone to be like Babe Ruth, you know, but nowadays you can't do that. But on another note, I want to plug a good buddy of mine, Brent Egan. He owns Tiza. So he has Tiza. It's a
those are the energy pouches.
Yeah, they have the caffeine in it, but it's all herbal and tea. So you could be a swallower and not a spitter, and you're going to get the energy. So, but to me, I mean, we're trying to get it in Major League Baseball. I think it's great to try to get guys from dipping. A lot of guys probably won't, but you know, to get this product out there. So if everybody wants to quit dipping, go to tiza.com. And you're going to go out there and your wife and your girlfriends will be happy because I'll tell you what, you're going to have good breath instead of having tobacco breath, you know, and you don't smell like
a dirty truck stop.
Yeah. You don't want to kiss anybody. It's like you're going to kiss a hot chick and she's got cigarette breath. It's a turn on. It's a turn on.
No, thank you.
So yeah, let's get this guy, let's get into baseball. Let's get the Tiza. You know, they got all these different flavors and then they got the hardcore, the cinnamon, the sriracha for the burn. That's for the Copenhagen guys. So, which is awesome. So let's give these guys a plug out and try to get everybody to quit dipping and go to Tiza.
Get that Tiza in your life, folks. Tiza in the lip and quit the dip.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And then also if you got anybody, because I have my foundation, the Perfect 33 Foundation. I have a golf event here in San Diego every year. October 9th and 10th is the dinner auction and then the golf at Saquon Casino and Resort. So you can go to perfect33foundation.org and people want to sign up. It's $4,000 for a foursome and I'll put a celebrity or a Navy SEAL. All the money I make from this, we take care of the Navy SEALs, the military for traumatic brain injuries and, you know, and try to help their lives out better. I'm all about the military. Those are my boys.
Well, Boomer, I'll tell you right now, if you need any help with that in any way possible, I could come and help MC. I could just be the guy who stands there and drinks beer and greets people as they come up to the tee box. I am the unofficial facilitator of fun here at Barstool Sports, and I have some friends. I have some friends in the teams as well. I have a friend that has the Seal for a Day Foundation. So we also do a lot of work with current and retired operators. So if there's anything I can do on that front, Boomer, in all seriousness, man, I'd love to help you out. So just let it be known, and I'm there for you. Perfect.
We'll reach out and do that. I love it because, I mean, here in San Diego, you got Coronado, you got the, 1, 3, 5 guys. And, I mean, it's just tremendous. I've been fortunate to there's a foundation here called the C4 Foundation, which I'm a big part of their foundation as well. And, I get to go up and shoot guns with these guys, outshoot the SEALs, the snipers. I'll outshoot them.
Yeah.
No chance. My son will. My son's a really good shot. So he outshot one of my buddies. He's a sniper. And, it was great. We just got to talk a lot of shit on him.
Did they coin him up? Did he get a coin?
No. We got coins. I love getting the coins. But no, it's just bragging rights because now my son, when I see my buddy, he just talks shit on him. And it's great. Sure. It's great. I love having the upper hand on these guys because they're such badasses. So we got to bring them down to our level once in a while.
If you can.
Yes,
no doubt. The great David Wells, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Boomer. Appreciate your time, big guy.
Anytime you guys want me, let's talk some shit. You know me, I got a lot of good stories.
Let's do it, man.
We can hit below the belt, too. We can go below the belt.
I love it.
Let's do it.
I love it. Right on.
All right.
All right,
See you
buddy.
guys.
Be
I
good,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Big thanks to Boomer. David Wells for making
What a peach.
his starting 9 debut. I enjoyed that one a lot. I could tell
What
you were
a
enjoying
peach.
it too.
Like it was one of those interviews where I genuinely, it felt like we were only 10 minutes into the interview, even 30 minutes, 40 minutes down the line. Like there's so much there. There is so much there.
Well, he started off hot.
He did. He's gonna, yeah. Pat
He
Gillick, if
started
you're
off
listening.
hot and he didn't cool down. He started off as hot as Babe Ruth's wife's house was when he set it on fire.
Whoa. Allegedly. That's a huge alleged statement that you're making there.
I think. Just imagine what the degrees Fahrenheit must have been in that home when Babe Ruth killed his wife, allegedly.
Stop it.
He did. Allegedly.
Helen just needs to be safer.
Think about all the quarantine purchases that you've made. The late night pizza deliveries, the mini succulent trios, the online trainer you ghosted after 2 weeks. And then there's one of your biggest purchases of the year. That's insurance. Americans overspend on car and home insurance by billions every single year. That's money that you could have been spent on more retail therapy. That's where the Zebra can help you. The Zebra is the nation's leading insurance comparison site for car and home insurance. In minutes, you can compare policies from every major provider for free, all on one independent marketplace. After a few quick questions, the Zebra pairs people with the right insurance company for them, helping everyone save time and money. Buy online or over the phone with one of their licensed insurance agents. There are no hidden fees or fine print about your personal information. Best of all, the Zebra has no stake in the policy you choose. They're just there to help you find the coverage that's right for you. Make insurance your smartest purchase yet. Visit thezebra.com/starting to get your free quote today. That is thezebra.com/starting.
Boom.
Dallas, do you have any final thoughts before we get the fuck out of here?
Today's the day. Today is the day of reckoning, Jared.
Yeah.
Umpires are going to be asked to police the sticky substance issue that has found its way into baseball, into mainstream, really. So today it starts. Starting pitchers check before the ball game. Relievers check before entering the ball game, maybe even after leaving the ball game. Hell, maybe even during the ball game. We don't really know. We've got some guidelines set. How those are adhered to, how those are enforced. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to. Whether or not guys are being targeted, whether or not there is a rhyme or reason to the methods being applied, when in a ball game, why in a ball game, how it comes up in a ball game. Are we going to see managers starting to point fingers and ask questions? Like, because there's been an agreement, Carrabis, for a long time in baseball that managers have just kind of stuck to. And does that now all go away? Is it now you know what? If we've got so much money involved in this game and we've got the analytics and blah, 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 we're just not doing certain things that we did in baseball in the past. Like the idea of just looking the other way while the other team maintains an advantage over us. Like, I'm no longer signing up for that. I don't know if that's happening. We're going to find out. I'm interested. I am very interested.
I'm interested as well.
How many suspensions do we see
At
the end of the year?
By the end of the year, I'll take the under on 4.5.
I would take the over on 4.5.
Would you really?
Yeah. And that's just because I think we're going to run into some, like, maybe a couple are legit, maybe a couple are questionable. I think that might happen.
We'll see. We will see. My final thought, I got to give a shout out to the Houston Astros. Mostly so that motherfucker Freddie stops DMing me. If you watch the fucking postseason live streams that we did last October, Freddie's an Astros fan, listens to the podcast, watches Morningwood, but this motherfucker has DM'd me 8,000 times in a row without getting a response. Now I just do it just to be petty. Now, like, I'm never gonna respond. You can keep DMing me forever. But he's a huge Astros fan. Whenever like someone on the Astros gets hot, he's like, talk about so and so, talk about this guy, talk about that guy. You got to mention this, you got to mention that. And most of the time, it's like, all right, yeah, okay. So Yuli Gurriel has been hot for 9 games. Like, I'm not gonna fucking mention that. But the Astros have won 7 straight baseball games. They are tied with the Oakland A's for first place in the American League West, and they are 1 run shy of becoming the first 400-run team in baseball. Their plus 112 run differential is the best in Major League Baseball. They deserve their recognition. They deserve some love. You know, if you were a motherfucker, you could probably be like, they're 26-13 at home. They're 17-15 away. For a team that's scoring 400 fucking runs with a run differential of plus 112, best in baseball, they're pretty mediocre when they're not at home.
Huh. Weird.
But I'm not gonna say that. I'm not saying that.
No?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, like, I could see why some people would look at that and be like, team that's that good. You can't.
Well, it's interesting.
It's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting given the past and, you know, traditionally good teams are just good. You know, you can put them in any ballpark and they're going to win baseball games. But, you know, this team being as good as they are, I just find it a little bit odd that they're 2 games above 500 when they're not at home. But that's not me saying
No.
that anything is fishy's going on.
No.
I'm not saying that.
No.
No.
Just merely presenting the fans with numbers.
Perspective. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. But other than that, I didn't really have anything to add on the Astros other than, you know, this is a pretty damn good baseball team.
That are banging it home, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Good talk.
Great talk.
We on.